Hello, Amal.
I'd like to, beloved.
Noon. I'd like to welcome in everyone that has come to watch this video to our conversation between myself, Quila Maya, and Amelia. And just before we begin, I'd like to take a moment for us just to go into our hearts, center ourselves, ground ourselves in this moment. So just taking a moment, you may want to place your hand upon your heart and close your eyes and breathe into your heart, allowing your energy to settle, allowing your focus to come into this moment. And experiencing the holiness of your being. And as you're ready, you can come back to your physical being and open your eyes. And here we are. So today we're going to begin a wee introduction on the Magdalene Christ Lighthouse. And I invite first you, Amelia, to maybe share a little bit about yourself and about the project.
Thank you, Quila Maya. It's my pleasure to be here with you. It's really wonderful, and it's wonderful to have an opportunity to share about what I love so much and what I love doing and being. So in terms of me, I call myself Amelia Rose. And in this lifetime, I have been consciously on my spiritual path for 40 years. So there's a lot of history and a lot of me that I could talk about. I have been in many different disciplines. My first teacher in this lifetime was Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who I was with for 10 years. Then I moved into Ascended Master Teachings with the University of the Seven Rays and on to Gaia Mystery School, Divine University. And then I was in shamanic training for 10 years with Lynn Andrews and the Sisterhood of the Shields. And then about somewhere 20 years ago, I was very prompted to step up in my service to the Mother and establish the School of the Feminine Divine, which that's how I know Quila, which was active for about 20 years. And then I got the prompting that it was time to elegantly and gracefully let that go, not knowing at all what we would be doing next. And here we are with our new project, the Magdalene Christ Lighthouse for the World. But what I should say is that currently my great love is the Mother Akasha, Queen of our universe. And I have in this lifetime consciously been with her and her teachings for 20 years. And it is, I'm here in service to the Mother. I'm here in service to anchor, to be a pillar for her energies upon the earth. For I understand that this coming 7th Golden Crystal Age, as it's called, that began in 2012, that the number one essential component for that is the anchoring of the Mother's presence again upon the earth. So that's a little bit about, I'm also in training with the Divine University. So I am an eternal student. Probably in my many lifetimes, I've always been a student and a teacher. I believe that a teacher needs to be a student as well to remember what it's like. That's a little bit about me, beloved.
Wonderful. Thank you, Quila. Oh, thank you. We're flowing. So maybe you could share a little bit now about the Magdalene Christ Lighthouse project and how that began, where the prompting came from and how it's unfolded.
Thank you, beloved. It's a big mouthful, isn't it? The Magdalene Christ Lighthouse for the World. I might just do an overlap and say, I think about my life as being the Mother Project. And the first phase of the Mother Project, I guess, was my life, and going through feminism and all of those things, training in the university, in science, but also in the area of home science, so that I was a scientist, but I loved the things that related particularly to women. This is many years ago. So the first part actively of the Mother Project was setting up the School of the Feminine Divine, which I did when I left academia. I'd been there for 30 years. And it was a 3-year program. And the underlying essence of the School of the Feminine Divine was that it was very structured, because I was a very structured being. But it was, I'm giving you an empty book in which to write your truths and your realizations. You don't have to believe a word I say, but you can reflect against what I say. And if you don't like what I say in the books to do, come back and say what you'd like to do instead. So it was very free, very flowing, but you still had to do your work. So that was step one in the Mother Project, was the development of the School of the Feminine Divine. Then I spent some time creating sacred geometries. And I developed 2 code systems that were once again all about sacred mother energies. There is the crystal flower codes and the goddess birthing codes. And these are all closely interrelated to the Pleiades, Matariki. Very much aligned with Alcyone, the central star of our galaxy. And I can just show you quick something here. So like, what do my sacred geometries look like? Remember, these are from 20 years ago. So that's an example of the crystal flower codes. And here's another example of the crystal flower codes. So that's my sacred geometries are all drawn by hand. I just could not get over how much I loved drawing 5-pointed stars and 6-pointed stars in circles. And it's like, how can it be so amazing and blissful to keep on drawing all these things? But I did, totally focused on that. And I produced them. So they are available. So there's the little booklet, and there's the book. I sound like a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson. Believe me, it's the last thing I am. Anyway, that I took them through and completed. And that was an amazing, beautiful process. I guess all of these things I'm involved with, I never know from one moment to the next what it is I'm going to do. I just go with the creative flow of the mother. So that was step 2 in the Mother Project. There's only 4 steps. Don't worry, I'll get this. Step 3 in the Mother Project is something I'm really involved in now, and that's quilting. And that is, goosebumps, stitching. It's like it links me back to all the mothers, all the women of all time. Every little tiny sacred stitch I take is pulling in the ancient energies, like when Mother Mary was stitching. So many of the sacred, or so many women have stitched. And so here I am stitching. And like I loved drawing 5-pointed stars and 6-pointed stars, I love tiny little stitches, which are filled with my love. And I've got here, as we completed with the School of the Feminine Divine, I invited the beloved sisters. We have had one brother who's graduated and he's part of our circle, but it was the sisters who participated. We made a quilt for the mother, and I'll just have a little, because this was us completing. Whoops, I should stand up. So every woman, and this was for our beloved Janine, who's now up in Shambhala. We made that on her behalf, and she comes to visit us quite regularly. So you can see they're all quite unique. This one, I'll just show you one more. This was from a sister who was in America. So the school was an international school, and there were several countries, women, and then our man came in. So that was 3 of the Mother Project, and that's an ongoing thing for me, working with quilting. And it's very magical for me. And I work with the mother energies. I work with the goddesses, the queens of heaven, Ascended Master ladies. And like, it might look like I'm just making a quilt, but everything's symbolic. And if I've got a flower, then the flower's going to represent one of the goddesses, and I'm going to invite her to be with me while I'm stitching. So that's step 3. And now step 4 is what I simply call, I think it's easy, is the Mother Stone. The Magdalene Christed Lighthouse for the world. In my heart, I call the Mother Stone. And so why do I call it that? The Magdalene Christed Lighthouse, it has the higher energies above. In the middle are what I call the energies of the Magi, the magician and the enchantress. The magician being the masculine Magi and the enchantress being the feminine Magi. And that's the energies that link together in this project, the heaven and the earth, because within the earth is the Mother Stone, which we have spent hours and hours and hours activating and loving and learning about, because she is what anchors this project. And the Mother Stone is green stone. In this land, it's called Pounamu, pronounced in many different ways. And in many parts of the world, it's called jade. And it has the most amazing qualities. It also has the most amazing stories about how it's created in the center of the earth by, let's just say, the goddesses at the moment. I can go into detail at some other time, but this stone is amazing, and it has the qualities of beauty, purity, and happiness. And it is a stone that will not take on any impurities. It contains within it the balanced masculine and feminine energies. It also contains within it the threefold nature of the divine, which has many names according to whatever tradition you want to look at for that threefold nature. So that's like a description of the lighthouse. But how did we get into this? When the inspiration had no conception about Pounamu, Greenstone, Magdalene energies, or lighthouse. It began, I guess it's many months, in December. December the 6th was when we began, 2021. And I had a growing disquiet about the way those who had power in the world were acting, and particularly what they were mandating for children. And I guess my teachers teach us that if we're on this path, it's not our job to be out protesting and on the streets. And believe me, if I hadn't heard that, I would have been many, many times, but I wasn't. So when I heard about what was being mandated for our children, I thought, I cannot just stay back. I have to do something. And so I invited my dear sisters and brother from the School of the Feminine Divine and from the Radiant Rose Academy to come together. And I committed to do 6 Zoom sessions a week where I would come in using all the skills that I have, didn't know what it was going to look like or what we were going to do, but really to offer something positive for the world and especially for the children. I knew that I was not going to go in and badmouth anybody or talk about what was wrong, because we don't want to add any energies to that. So the purpose was to come in, I guess, and start envisioning something higher and envisioning for the politicians of our land that they might be touched by the energies of the mother and the goddesses, the Ascended Master Mothers. So that was the intention. And I'm someone that loves being in a circle. And so we work with the talking stick and would pass the talking stick around so that everybody, or sisters and brother, would be involved in and could say whatever they wanted to say, whatever prayers they wanted to put forward. First of all, it was for our land, Aotearoa, New Zealand, Te Waipounamu. And very early on in the dialogue, it was a recognition that we are the first nation in the world to receive the light. And so we were asking that we could grow the light for our land, grow it and grow it. And it could be an inspiration for the world. It could overlight the world. And so then I guess we moved from light to thinking about we could be the lighthouse for the world. And then half of us live in the South Island of New Zealand, which is known as Te Waipunamu, which I love the interpretation as waters of greenstone. I know there are other ways of wording that. And I honestly don't remember when we started to focus on Pounamu. So, but we did. It grabbed us. It absolutely grabbed us and said, wait a minute, like, where do you live? What's this about? And in this journey, we discovered that Te Waipunamu might be the name of the land, the island that I live upon. But in ancient lore of this land, it also means the highest awareness. It's like the growing of the highest awareness. And we had so many moments in discovering the magic of what we were doing. It's almost like we set off on this journey and it became more and more magical, and we gained more understanding with time about exactly what it was we were up to. Have I answered your question, darling?
I think so, beautiful. I think so. And I love that this work began in the land where we both reside, Aotearoa, New Zealand,
Yeah.
and you've recognised that that the anchor is greenstone or jade, which is something that is throughout our beautiful planet. So this work can be spread or shared throughout the world, that it's not to be contained just here. So anybody that's watching from outside of these shores, there is a reason you're watching, and there is a connection for you in that.
May I add in there, in response to that, the prompting certainly that I received was, first of all, we were building things for our land, because it was like, that was the prompting, was we've got to do something for the children of our land who are being mandated to do things that we don't wish them to have to be mandated for. And then I received the prompting, so that if we wish to give this gift for the world, like we were activating the greenstone in our land, but if we wish to activate all the jade temples, all the jade in the earth, all the jade that people are wearing, like we all wear our jade. It's my beautiful one, right? in my jade bracelet. If we wanted to do that, we needed to do those prayers, activation ceremonies 9 times. And so we have, in this course of however many months we've been going now, we begin with our land, and then we do ceremony 9 times for the activation of this similar energy in the world. And I won't be at all surprised if sometime in the future I don't go off on a wonderful journey visiting jade temples, growing inside of me.
Yes, beautiful. Emma, would you like to share a little about the actual practicalities or the process of how you're working with that in this moment, like whether it's weekly or fortnightly or etc.?
Yeah. So every Monday, 7 to 8 New Zealand time, I have a group, and so long as there's one other person, then we go for it. I have introduced doing meditations twice a month, and the meditations we brought in at this, the meditations go into the creations of the lighthouse. So we explore and we find out more about our creation by going on these journeys. My plan is that they're no more than about 30 minutes. I think that's long enough. So that's and anybody who wants to, well, I'm sure we'll put it. We'll put it how you can contact me, and anybody's welcome to come along on a Monday evening. You can come once, or you can come forever, just whatever you would like. Just to illustrate, so over this course of this time, we've created many different, what we've called rooms or frequencies or places inside the lighthouse. So like we have meditation rooms, we have ocean rooms, we have forest areas, we have the women's room, we have flower gardens. So these are the names that are given. But these rooms inside the lighthouse are living rooms. So, of course, flowers are very close. I'm Amma, Melia. Amma is mother, Melia is flower. So that's mother of the flowers or flower of the mother. And you might remember the codes. I made the crystal flower codes, the goddess birthing codes of flowers. So that was when we made the Room of the Flowers. That's when I discovered that these rooms are like living beings, because they're all fifth dimensional. But I found that when I was in there and I'd go to touch a flower, and it's like the whole of the galaxy would open up. And it's like all our flowers come from somewhere. And the Pleiades is a source of a lot of our flowers. And so I found that I went into the flower room, and I, like magnolias, for example, we know for sure they come from Alcyone. So just look up and place my awareness on magnolias, and we would be in Alcyone. It's just this amazing living being. And so we've had a couple of journeys that have been with flowers. We went to the Alcyone Gardens and we received healings from flowers. We went on to in flower like healing beds, and then the flowers came up and surrounded us. And so we had a healing meditation with the flowers. The other thing that's very potent for all of us is the tree kingdom. And we created a Matariki realm, a Pleiadian realm, at the time that our country was celebrating its first non-colonial holiday, as my grandsons told me. For Matariki, we have a national holiday. Astonishing, isn't it, for the stars? Mm-hmm. And that's when we created in our lighthouse the Matariki realm. And we were introduced to 3 different amazing forests that all come from the stars, the origins of them. The redwood trees come from Venus, and we had magnolia forest from the Pleiades, and we had an indigenous forest, which has got a huge long story to it, but comes from the Golden Shrine Galaxy, where the indigenous people of our land came from. In addition, there was a mother tree. You remember what the mother tree looked like in Avatar? She looks a bit like that. So she's absolutely beautiful. So we spent time with the mother tree, and she spoke with us and gave us messages. And then we also met with the tree kingdom when we went into, we had at my most recent meditation, we went into the mother's room and we met 4 great mothers. And it was Mother Mary, who currently has a role as goddess of the earth. She asked us to connect to find a grandmother tree. And the grandmother tree is like, the grandmother tree will hear all our wishes and dreams. The grandmother tree is an integral part of what we're doing in the Magdalene Christed Lighthouse. And she will share everything that we're dreaming with all the other grandmother trees in the world. So it's like the internet, or the tree network. And I think there are many places people write about that, about how the trees of the world all interconnect. But our grandmother tree, also connects with the grandmother trees of the planets in our solar system, connects with the grandmother trees in our galaxy, and even the universe. And so through our work with the tree kingdom now, we have this amazing, beautiful, profound, magical connection with the trees of our universe. And she shared that through this connection, we have untold beings that come when we join together in the lighthouse. These beings come to be with us because it is absolutely critical at this time that there are some human beings on the earth that are visualizing the new earth. We know that the old is not working, that it's slowly falling over, maybe fast falling over. And how are we going to create the new? We need human beings, well, divine spiritual beings having a human experience. We need us to be visualizing the new world. And so that in essence, I guess, is what the lighthouse is about us coming together and putting together a vision for the new earth, for the new world. And back to the children, it's about creating a world that we would love the children to be able to step into. Right.
Beautiful.
And we're nearly on 30 minutes.
Oh,
So good on timing.
it's beautiful. There is so much that we could go into, as you so many doorways opening in our conversation. But we will wrap it up here so we don't get sidetracked. But before we do, is there anything else on top that you'd like to share?
Well, thank you. As you can see, it's very joyful for me to talk about these things. You'll find I like to have fun. I have a childlike nature, an elemental nature. So meditate. I'm not serious about all the things. They're very profound and they're very sacred. But I also like for us to have fun and to enjoy life and enjoy our meditations. Yeah, so that's what comes out. And thank you so much. And everybody's welcome. If you'd like to come along, we would love for you to come and experience and to contribute your dreams for the new earth. That's most important. That as many of us as possible can put our dreams and visioning into this fifth dimensional creation that we have. And as you've heard, we have many wonderful links, especially the Tree Kingdom.
Yes.
and the Mother Stone. So we are also essentially very shamanic beings.
This is beautiful, and I think it's really important, as you say, at this time that that we are envisioning the new world, the new way that we want things to be, and that requires as many of us as possible. So if anybody has a desire or a calling to be a part of that, this is certainly a space you're welcome to come to visit and see if it sits for you. So
Namaste.
maybe we shall close just here with and we'll do the same as we did at the start, just a moment to settle into the heart, into our hearts. So just taking a moment to close your eyes, place your hand upon your heart, breathe into your heart space. Filling your being with the holy breath. And as you breathe, just reminding yourself that you are anchored here in the physical realm, a spiritual being having a physical experience. And as you're ready, you can come back out and open your eyes. Blessed Sana.
Blessed be.